All right, so Power Slap. This is the slapping company that Dana White started, and he's trying to follow that same direction and mold that put the UFC on the map, commercially with the Ultimate Fighter. So, what's your initial thoughts on Power Slap?
It's a very interesting sport. I don't know if I really like dudes just taking open-handed hits to an unprotected face.
Yeah, what's the longevity of this? And I'm talking about for the viewer and the participant.
I don't know. I mean, there is the weird, kind of train wreck syndrome here. It's not pretty to watch, but it's real hard to pull your eyes away from it. So it had its moments where it was kind of intriguing, but once again, this is not a sport I can get into.
Yeah, I mean, so do you think someone can really go years with doing this?
I wouldn't think so. This looks like this could be potentially really damaging to people over time.
So I'll say through this first episode, some of the first moments you see immediately is a guy getting slapped and seizing on the ground.
Right. That's not really what I want to watch. I mean, obviously you want to see, a fight where people win, but I like a fair fight where a man can protect himself, have defensive measures and offensive measures.
And you see this why Dana White, they cut to clips of him cackling and just loving every second of this corpse that just got slapped to the ground.
Right. Yeah. Throw him in the house. He's a punching bag now.
We won't pay him much, but
Right. Yeah.
we'll definitely giggle at him why he loses brain cell after brain cell. And,
oh my goodness.
So, and I'll say this, I mean, some people have a little bit of, a slower talk, but a lot of these guys already talk slow. Would you
half
agree?
of them are from Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma,
Well, Tennessee, yeah.
Tennessee, Louisiana.
So formulating a thought would be hard for them to begin with.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then now they're being blasted with palms.
Yeah, losing even more brain cells.
This is the unfortunate part of Nate Diaz and Conor McGregor becoming popular and rich with fans. And you see a whole lot of the peacocking, fake showboating. Everyone's got like their own little persona in this Power Slap. And,
Right.
Someone will slap somebody and then if they knock them out, go over there and try to get a selfie with the corpse or whatever, you know what I mean? And they'll dance and pop lock and, and like almost everyone does it. Everyone has their own little Conor McGregor / Nate Diaz fake persona to try to just, I guess, either get over with fans or try to, just make some kind of, leeway with this thing.
So I do have a question about this. As far as the personality goes, we know that in WWE, personality, persona, the ability to capture the moment and the crowd, they actually have coaches that work on this technique with the wrestlers. Perfect example. Bobby Lashley. I remember whenever he first got into WWE. Now, obviously, I know
no personality, no nothing.
Nothing.
Looked $1 million.
Yes, looks $1 million. I knew the kid in college. He's one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet.
Yeah.
Right. But that aggressive personality, like The Rock or Stone Cold or Macho Man Randy Savage, the stuff that made them special to the sport, was something they developed over time. Do they have the same thing for UFC and Power Slap?
You mean like maybe like a personality coach type deal, like a character coach? I mean, not that I know of, but would you put it past them too? Like to have a media coach? I would say they would definitely have a media coach. And what I mean by that is, press conferences, anything like that. I bet they do because like the big thing that Nate Diaz just did, where he was dissing Reebok shoes. Well, obviously they said, something about because you're decked out in Reebok now. You can't have Condom Depot and whatever else.
Right.
When he said, "Hey, they're forcing me to wear these Reebok shoes. They suck," or whatever. Which it's funny, but again, that's what endears him to the people. He's so real and shit like that.
Right.
So like with this, I wouldn't doubt if they say, "Hey, go out there and be over the top." I wouldn't doubt that. I totally wouldn't doubt
Be
that.
flamboyant.
Because guess what? This is a reality show too.
Right.
Because that's what they're trying to do. And as we go through it, and full disclosure, we've only watched episode 1. We'll catch up, but I don't know. You know, I don't know what's moving forward, but I can almost guarantee you that Dana White wants a couple big personalities to come out of this because they said there's a pay-per-view at the end of this.
Well, because what sells fights?
Just what do you mean, like actual MMA fights?
Right.
Well, it's either skill versus skill, or
Experienced
it
fighters,
is
yeah.
some sort of a what would you call that? I don't know, tension between fighters, or
Right. Hype.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, a lot of it's hype. Like you see, Chael Sonnen versus Tito Ortiz.
Doesn't jump out at first, right? So they're gonna have to sell
No.
that, yeah.
Well, it doesn't jump out at all because Tito doesn't have a personality. The guy can't talk shit, where Chael Sonnen is a master at it.
Yeah.
He literally embarrasses you without even trying. All he's got to do is smirk at every, stupid little bullshit thing that you say.
As we go through this power slap, what stood out? Did anyone stand out? Do you like Slap Jesus? Do you like Jewel, the diamond encrusted slapper, or whatever the fuck his name was?
He was boring. Slap Jesus, the shtick was kind of funny.
Hand of God or whatever.
Yeah, Hand of God. The kid with the huge hematoma. My God, what a chin!
What did he say? He's a plumber from Wyoming, but he also does
plumber, mason.
But he also does he's a groundskeeper from Oklahoma too. When he's not in Wyoming,
wrestling cattle or some shit. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that kid, he has an amazing chin. He took the guy that reared back on him didn't even go full. He didn't rear back all the way. I mean, he hit him.
Not full palm.
No.
Never go full palm.
Never go full palm. But actually, both those guys were fairly impressive to me. I mean, it's just unlucky of getting knocked out.
What about the one-eyed guy that constantly screamed how he ate it? And then at the end, you find out that the athletic commission of this fine sport said, "Hey, you've got one eye. You can't go in the house and act like an idiot."
Right.
It's unfortunate.
That guy eats shots.
He does.
He just fucking eats them, and he'll tell you.
He can't see him coming, so it's not a big deal.
Right. No, it's just he's developed that third eye.
The brown one. So who you rooting for anybody? Because I haven't seen anyone.
Not yet.
Not yet, right? We'll have to keep going. What about that Vern guy at the end, the Vern Cathay or whatever that I told you when we were watching? I'm like, he's too nice, and he slapped the piss out of Post Malone.
Right. He packed some power. I mean, that guy dropped like a sack of mail.
Yes,
strange
sack
analogy.
Of shit, I think is what you meant.
But he dropped that guy pretty quick. Most of them tend to fall backwards. This guy just dropped straight down. Like his knees went out from underneath of him.
And then they showed that one random chick fight, and I got that wrong too. I thought that steroided up chick with the mohawk that because she was a drummer in Rancid, I think she said, and she was she was gonna fight the other girl that English was her 15th language, and I was like, oh, she's gonna beat her ass, and she hit this girl who didn't move whatsoever.
No, her face moved very little. Like it didn't even smudge her makeup.
Yeah, I could fucking mushroom stamp her and she'd move more than that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. Zach.
So anyway, she slaps her back, just kills her. She does that front roll.
Yeah, she was trying to find her whereabouts. So she was basically Alice in Wonderland at that point.
Started breakdancing and shit. So we're going to go into episode 2. I don't know how this goes because they keep saying there's going to be a slap off or something. Some of these guys have made it through, but some of them have to slap off. They went through the rules. They, so I mean, it's still a work in progress here for me understanding how they're going to fill an hour of television. Is there only, because an Ultimate Fighter is only one fight, obviously. That can't be the case in this, right? You're going to have a couple 3-round slap fights, right? Because
Right.
I don't even know the brackets or anything. I don't understand because they said there's heavy, middle, and little fellers.
Right.
But is it 8-man, 6? What is it?
I don't know.
They didn't say, right? All you see is Dana White. You're trapping.
Right. Well, obviously preliminary stages of the show. I mean, they're going to have to fill up this house with some people because you're not going to have a welterweight going up against a heavyweight.
A big boy, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, these guys, just looking at some of the previews where they're slapping the bags that actually show you what your PSI is.
I'll be interested in that because Ivan Drago, he had like a 4,000 PSI or something that it's not even human.
I think you're missing a zero there.
Yeah, 40 billion PSI.
Right. But these guys are hitting with I think one number I saw was 2162. That's like pro boxing type of power. Pro boxers hit with 2,400 PSI whenever they punch you. These guys are slapping with 2,100 to an unprotected chin.
Yeah.
That's nasty.
Well, we'll just have to see episode 2 as we move on to what is this called? Road to Slap?
Road to the Belt or something like that.
Oh, there's going to be belts, huh? All right, well, episode 2. All right, so episode 2 of Power Slap, I think it's a little worse than the first one. There's just slap-offs.
Feels like it's just more of the same, like people trying to get into the house. They're bringing some of the guys back that lost on the first day.
And then new slappers.
New slappers.
Dana White's still out there giggling.
Yes. Very, very giggly. The rules, I'm finding the rules fucking weird.
Yeah, the fouls don't seem to really discourage who ends up being the winner. Because we've seen several fouls on this episode and the other person wins, but then they're medically not cleared because, they're in a coma. So the one that fouls moves on into the house.
Right.
Now tell me what would deter me from wanting to foul. I might as well just turn my hip, step, do whatever, beat the shit out of you.
Right. Get multiple hits in, make sure I can't breathe. Yeah, and then you're probably getting into the house at that point.
Yeah, I'm not going to win the match, but I'm getting in the house.
Right. You just fucking murdered this guy. Welcome to the house.
What's the deal with that, though? That's goofy.
It's strange.
Yeah,
it's very strange.
It makes a goofy niche novelty sport even more dumb. Yeah, they talk about
even more unlikable.
The athletic commission, because that's what Dana says. I don't know. He has to say it so many times. He's got a quota,
right,
about how legit this is. But there's nothing deterring you from fouling. You move on,
right? And we've seen that in what
2 or 3
matches just in episode 2.
Yeah,
that was strange.
I don't understand.
I don't get it either.
I think I want to see the house more than I want to see back to back slaps. Because also, like I've told you before, I don't think the longevity of this sport is much because you've seen 1, 2, 5, 10 of these. You've almost seen them all. Now you see levels, but you are seeing the basis of it.
Right.
It's the same thing over and over.
Yeah.
So what would make you want to tune in over and over and over? It would either have to be the personalities.
Right. Which is probably why everything that's going to go on in the house is probably severely scripted.
Oh, yes. Because we've already seen clips and we'll get into it. But, dudes crying or dudes trying to shoot the worst single leg of their life because, they've trained jiu-jitsu for a couple months before slapping or whatever. Because you've heard that story, yeah, I've trained in jiu-jitsu. You've heard that on this episode. I trained some jiu-jitsu. You're going, oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's going to help you how here?
Sadly, well, I guess we're gonna march on, and you hope that the house stuff it's got to be better than this, right?
Honestly, it makes me want to start smoking again.
Crack.
Crack, yes.
All right, as we go into episode 3 of Power Slap, here we're thinking it's going to get better, right? Now we know the matchups. They're in this mansion. We know who's got the best neck circumference, who slaps a pad the hardest, human force, whatever the fuck that means. We know all that stuff, right?
Right.
Show's going to get better. Does it?
No.
Like you said when we were watching it, whole lot of fluff here, right?
Oh, yeah. How long is the show? Like 47 to 49 minutes?
Yeah, it's an hour on TV.
Right. And it feels like there's about 40 minutes of fluff in there.
Yeah, obviously, because what? A slap fight is, only a couple minutes.
3
right?
rounds, couple minutes, maybe.
They're in this nice house. They have all free booze, but they don't, like Dana White says in one of the episodes, you can't be drinking that much if you can't handle it. Then why is there free booze everywhere? We get it.
Right.
We get it, Dana. But there's a couple guys that take it too far. And one of the guys is the guy that has like Samoan tattoos or something like that. He said he's an electrician in Texas.
Yeah, Russell.
Yeah. He takes it. He's like part of it like every episode, right?
Seems like it. He really didn't like that Azael or whatever his name is.
Yeah, oh, yeah, the smaller guy.
Yeah. Yeah, the middleweight.
Yeah, which I guess he ended up pissing his bed and laying in someone else's bed, or I don't know what the hell was going on.
Right.
But so how you liking the show? I don't like the format of it at all.
It feels a lot like Ultimate Fighter, which I got bored with after like 2 or 3 seasons.
Yeah, I will say that, do I want to know who wins? A little bit, just because I think they do an okay job with you getting to know a few of the people. But, they
Right.
leave out some people too. So I would say that's the best job they do, with knowing some of their backgrounds. But, there's a couple similarities with everyone. They're slapping another human male for their kids, for Jesus, or, yeah, right? It's for their kids and Jesus,
Right.
or for their wife.
For their mama.
Yeah, and that's very weird. But, how many times did you hear that? I'm slapping this other grown man for my kids, or God gave me a mean right hand, or God gave me a chin, or, I do this for my wife. And you're just sitting here like, what I mean? I probably, if I could watch myself watching this, have a confused look on my face most of the show.
Right?
It's weird, right?
Right.
I really don't know what to say about it. If you're choosing to watch it, I'm not breaking it down fight by fight, because it's just not that interesting. The slap Jesus guy is obviously going all McGregor Diaz, we wearing a diaper to the weigh-in, whatever. But some of these guys are trying to make a name to themselves.
I like Slap Jesus though. Like he peacocks a little bit, but he doesn't do shit in the house. Like he just kind of sits there and absorbs.
Well, see, that's one thing. Now, if you're a dick in the house and a dick on stage, that's another thing. It's kind of odd, but obviously they got a couple guys they're pushing. The Chris Thomas guy that would obviously win, and he's sitting there, and then the Jewel Scott guy. But what I was telling you about is there's only going to be so many knockout references you can do, like, oh, my hand is NyQuil, or I'm reading you a bedtime story, or, are you taking melatonin tonight because I'm going to tuck you in and shit like that. Those are going to get old pretty quick. So if there's multiple seasons of this, which I don't know if there will be, the ratings on this thing's, they're bad.
It's going to have to get scripted at some point.
Is it not now, in a way? I don't know. Maybe
it
not.
might be. That could be for the terrible ratings, but...
So, we go through, is there any slap fight that stands out to you?
Not really. One of my favorites was the Kennedy guy that lost.
I disagree with that loss, though. If you're in the 3rd round, you're done eating all the slaps, you should have a chance for one last slap. Because, we've seen people way more wobbly than him that they just say, hey, yeah, you're good.
Oh, yeah, right. And I honestly don't know if they gave him the full time limit.
It didn't look like it. It looked like they gave him about 11 seconds and said, "Yeah, you're done."
Right. Well, and keep in mind that was episode 3, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And that was the one on the very, very choppy.
Well, that's because of us.
Right.
Yeah,
right. So I don't know if they gave him the full time. Like, give him the 30 seconds.
We may or may not be watching this on our pirated
right.
streams, you know. Well, my Fight Pass isn't working. I pay for Fight Pass, and it's just not playing it. So, I mean, you got to find something.
That sounds like some Dana White shit right there.
It does.